I am here with the UFC 318 full card predictions, and let's just jump straight into it. We don't care about this one, but I'm gonna go with Bruno Ferreira with the real first fight at the card. Jackson Mavet was supposed to fight Dumas, but I just come on, bro. The 6-0 American prospect against Bruno Ferreira, somebody who is very, very tested in the UFC. He is a scrapper. I think Ferreira is going to get him out of there by like a second round KO. I just don't think McVeigh, this guy's ready. Like with these short notice debuts against tested guys in UFC, you gotta be somebody like, you gotta be one of these caucus fighters, not an American guy, right? I don't believe this American 6-0. Moving on. Ryan Spann versus Lucas Bursky. Fuck, man. We got the battle of the bums here. And in the heavyweight division, I know Ryan Spann could be completely retarded. But I'm going to go with Ryan Spann. Both guys just really bottom of the barrel with the UFC. Ryan Spann just has a terrible chin. And he has zero fight IQ. And it's just... But I'm going to go with Ryan Spann. I'm not going to dive on... I'm going to just move on past here, man. Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. I think he's actually kind of underrated. I think his well-roundedness carries him a lot, and I think he can use that in this matchup. I don't see Prachnio like outstriking him that well. I just think Crute can work his ground game off of the kicks, and his offense on the feet is decent. He's got good boxing, or at least okay boxing, and I know his footwork is terrible, but I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. I can see a Jimmy Crute decision here. Moving on. Adam Fugit versus Islam Dulatov. Apparently, Dulatov is 1-0, even though he's not true. If you don't know, Dulatov was literally walking like the fucking walkways in Paris or some shit. A model. Just absolute, like, the contrast between these two. Even, like, this like, Dana White's Contender Series tint that he has on him is just way more aura than Fugit. Like, let's be honest here. Who's winning this fight? But... skill for skill, Dulatov is decent. I think he's going to chin him in the first round. Moving on to the prelims. I'm not even going to try with Gutierrez's first name, but versus Robert Valentin. I'm going Gutierrez. Let's be honest here. Valentin, like, I know that Torrence Finney actually fucking smudged him, but how are you going to let that happen to you? Right? Like, how are you going to let somebody like Torrence Finney do that to you? Gutierrez is somebody who's actually improving. He's looked real impressive, and I just think momentum is on his side here. I see Gutierrez by, like, I'm going to go decision. I think he might give Valentin trouble in early, but I don't think he will be able to get him out of there. Moving on. Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Varetnikov. Surprised I didn't butcher that. I'm gonna go with Prado. I think Prado is just better record, and I feel like he's kind of like a welterweight Drew Dober. He looks like that, and I think he'll be able to impose his will in this matchup. I got Prado by decision. Moving on to the first like real like quote unquote name on the card: Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. Both guys kind of coming off some losses. Both had the momentum earlier on in this career. Let me hit the water real quick. But honestly, like, the thing that is driving me to pick Brendan Allen here is Marvin Vettori has been in the UFC for like, 7-8 years? A long time. Probably 9 years. He's been here a while, and he has never, like, I've never seen him improve. The only time I recall him improving is going into that first fight with Roman Dolidze. I think he was coming off the Whitaker loss, and he improved. He went to Thailand, and he got slightly better kickboxing. And I just think since then, he's not only not improved, he's looked worse and taken more damage. With Brendan Allen, he's very like good in like couple of situations. Sometimes he does something, and I'm like, whoa, Brendan Allen just did this. He showed actual good technique. He is a very solid grappler, way better than Vettori. And I could see him subbing Vettori here. I can see him frustrating Vettori on the feet, just mixing it up. Throwing the kick high. They're in the open stance matchup here. Body kicks are going to be there for Allen. Even though Vettori has a body kick, I just think that Allen would be the type of guy to come in here and incorporate that into his game plan and just spam those. And I feel like Vettori is going to be the guy that's throwing one out there when, the 1-2 isn't landing. Just chuck one out there, few of them per round. Whereas Allen will be more meaningful with the kicks. He has the low kick, the high kick he can employ here. And I don't think he's going to chin Vettori because it's Vettori. This guy's chin doesn't make any sense. I could see him submitting Vettori. I think Vittori's ground game is very overrated, and I could see Allen, giving him some trouble on the feet. Vettori isn't necessarily hurt, but he's like, all right, I'm going to shoot in to mix it up. And I can see Allen subbing him, working off his back. I do believe that he has the grappling advantage here. So I'm going to go Allen. I think decision is a better pick, but I'm going to go by sub because that would be a lot cooler. Moving on to the headliner of the prelims, Kyler Phillip versus Vinicius Oliveira. This is actually a sneaky banger right here. But I'm going to go with Oliveira. I don't know. Kyler Phillips is kind of, and this is just off vibes alone because technically they're kind of similar level in my opinion. But Kyler Phillips is very inconsistent, and Oliveira is on this huge streak, a lot of momentum. He looks like he's improving as a fighter. Whereas, Kyler Phillips is losing to Rob Font and just doing the same thing. That's not what I want to see. And I don't think, and his kind of advantage here is the grappling, but I just don't see him out grappling Oliveira. Oliveira is a lot bigger, strong, big, broad for the division. I think he'll utilize that and win the decision here. Moving on to the main card. Man, this card has no names on it, but there's some decent fights. Decent fights. Michael Johnson versus Al Huber. Who are we kidding here? I think I'm going to go Zal Huber. First of all, MJ on a main card in 2025 is wild. But Michael Johnson he's just not consistent enough where I can pick him. I feel like with, the time I've been watching UFC, one of the things I noticed is that consistency beats a guy who's got this fluke ability. Not even just consistency wins. That's what I'm trying to say. And Zal Huber is somebody who's growing his career. He just got humbled in a fight that he was pretty he was winning. It was close. It wasn't like he got dominated by somebody like Ribovich, who I think will beat MJ. MJ is just too inconsistent. He's way older. 24-19 record. Zal Huber is gonna be the one improving here, and I feel like MJ is just. Can I really see another MJ win 3 in a row? That's a little too much for Michael Johnson. So I'm going to go Zal Huber by, I can see a finish. I can honestly see a finish. I'm going to go third round finish. Moving on. Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. What? Really? Minus 166 for Dan Ige? Put some money on that, bro. Dan Ige should be like a minus 300 favorite at least. I think this is a very, very favorable matchup for Ige. I think this is a case of the UFC being like, oh yeah, you took the Lopez fight on 4 hours notice. We didn't reward you with with a Lerone Murphy. We didn't reward you with that matchup, but we're going to give you something a lot more favorable because they want him as a gatekeeper. Patricio Pitbull, man. He's too small for 145. I don't see how he's going to win this fight. Is he going to take down Ige? Is he gonna box with Ige, strike with Ige on the feet? Ige has improved a lot. I feel like back in the day he was content with losing a decision, but I think that kind of switch clicked in his head maybe during when he took that Lopez fight where he's like, okay, I could do more here. He's always had solid power. He's always had an uncrackable chin. He has sneakily one of the best chins in the UFC. There's a lot of that on this card actually. With Holloway, Poirier, Ige, Vettori, and Prado, these type of guys. But Ige, he just has the stockiness that gives him a 20% takedown defense boost. I don't see Pitbull having any sort of method of victory here. I just think Ige is going to put him down with a clean shot. Pitbull's chin has weathered. I'm just not impressed. At this stage of his career, I feel like Pitbull is going to get finished by Ige. within the first 2 rounds. I'm gonna go Danny Gay finishing the knockout in the first 2 rounds. I think this is a terrible matchup for Pitbull. Moving on, man. Kevin Holland versus Daniel Zellhuber. Daniel Zellhuber. How that? Daniel Rodriguez. My bad. Old D-Rod. I live in LA, so I be driving to LA and I see this dude's face on the wall. Sometimes it's some murals. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. But regardless, I know he's coming off a knockout over Santiago Ponzinibbio. But let's be honest here. They both looked fucking terrible in that fight. They both looked two unks at the barbecue, 6 beers deep, throwing hands over the last beer. They looked so sloppy. Both of their chins were way up in the air, swinging and banging. I just don't think you can do that against Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland is gonna he's looking for a good finish here. I think he can get that with KO or by sub. Rodriguez doesn't have a steel chin. He's gotten hurt. He's gotten dropped. He's gotten finished before. I think Holland, honestly, Rodriguez might his only path to victory is to outpoint Holland, because Holland does sometimes let that happen. But Rodriguez isn't some sort of a volume guy either. He has decent cardio, but he doesn't drive a crazy pace. And I feel like if he drives a crazy pace, Holland is going to find a moment within it to land that 1-2 down the middle. And with a fighter like Holland and a fighter like Rodriguez, who are both boxing, and by the way, Holland has a 7-inch reach advantage. I know that Kevin Holland is also very inconsistent, and that goes against what I said before. But with Holland, I feel like this time is different. He's like a toxic ex, dude. This time it's different. It's not the same. But it is at welterweight as well. D-Rod isn't going to grapple him. I feel like Kevin Holland is just going to be able to work on the feet and put the shots on D-Rod, and I think he's going to find a finisher, find a knockout, maybe a club and sub. Holland does love his front chokes. So I could see a moment where he rocks D-Rod with a right hand, 1-2 down the middle, and D-Rod jumps in for a clinch or something, and Holland just snaps that neck up. He's so good at that. He's the new Dark Knight of the UFC, bro. It used to be Tony Ferguson. It used to be Luque, but he's taken that from Luque. He's taken the Dark Knight title, and I think he's gonna find a finish within the first 2 rounds here. D-Rod, and D-Rod's 42 as well. Come on, man. With a 7-inch reach disadvantage in this matchup. Unless he turns into prime Izzy, chops the low kick, keeps him at bay, and just not engage with Holland, he's not going to fight like that. So I see Holland finishing him. Moving on to the co-main event. The co-main event of a UFC pay-per-view in 2025 is Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. And I love Kopylov. And I think he's going to win in this matchup. But really, in a co-main, here's the thing. Both of these guys are not the elite in their division. I foresee that. Okay? Costa he's ever since that Izzy fight, he's never been mentally the same. I feel like he never, that switch never flipped in his head. Even in that Luke Rockhold fight where he won, his last win, by the way. His only win in 5-6 years. That's fucking wild. Is a 38-year-old Luke Rockhold with leg surgery in Utah. One thing though, Costa does have decent cardio. He's been in there with the best of them. He has the experience, and Kopylov is sloppy. And I know he is very likely to win this matchup. I feel like he is the technically better striker here. He's got more intent, he's got more power, and he's just better. Okay? He could blast up Costa, but I think one thing that we're missing here is the cardio. And Kopylov has very sloppy tall man defense. He will throw the lazy jab and drop his hands. He will do that. And Costa could punish that. We could see a Costa late TKO finish where he's just put it on Kopylov. Kopylov is a little more tired, and Costa is just teeing off on him. One of those vintage performances from Costa. I could totally see that. And I don't think Kopylov is somebody who's as good of a striker to be able to put Costa out in the first round or some shit. I know that Costa hasn't fought an amazing finisher. He's fought Izzy who finished him. but that was like the best form of Izzy ever during COVID with Gyno. He didn't get finished by Whitaker. And I feel like even though Costa is on such a crazy skid, and it's crazy that I'm even like considering picking him, I think he's slowly turning the tide. I feel like he knows that he feels the gates closing on him. I feel like Costa with one more loss, he might be out of there. You know, he's never been like the UFC's favorite guy. The whole thing with Vittori pulling out against Chimaev on 294. All of these things, and he's on like a 4-fight losing streak or some shit. He needs this win here, and I feel like Kopylov is just gonna treat this like, oh, just another fight. I'm gonna say Costa by third round finish. This might bite me in the ass. I'm going for a crazy underdog pick, but I'm picking Costa because picking Kopylov would just be boring, man. Moving on to the main event. I'm gonna make a separate video breaking this down, but I'm gonna go Max Holloway. I got Max Holloway by decision. The odds are pretty interesting. There might be money on Holloway, but I got my eyes on Max Holloway. Maybe late finish, I could see that, but no, I think by decision. Max Holloway by decision, and catch on the next one. I've been yapping a long time.